All right, today is story time. This is a bit of a unique video. He looks way too
I
excited for
am
this.
so excited for this.
He was the one who wanted to do it. So Caleb came up with this idea that he should ask me questions and then I should ask him questions about the last 10 years of our sales career, where we share with you the highs, the lows, everything in between. And that's what he wants to do. So here we are.
Tell me about your start in sales. Why did you start your first sales job? And what was that first
Oh, I
few
remember
weeks
that.
experience like?
My first sales job, I remember it very clearly. I actually have, so I kind of have to go back to go forward for this one. So
Totally.
a little bit of the journey to get
This is
there.
my favorite part of interviewing any top performer is why do they do what they do? How did they get there? And now I'll stop interrupting because I love this story.
Okay. So my story starts all the way back when I got an elementary education degree in college, and I had a mission and just I wanted to help kids. I've always loved kids, and everyone told me that I was a really great communicator and they thought I was a really good teacher. So I said, well, hey, why don't I be a teacher? I also had people telling me I should be a physical therapist. I know you can't tell, but I'm pretty tall. So I played college basketball and all the things, and they're like, you should do something in physical therapy. And
Made it to nationals, college level.
okay, moving on.
That's my brag when we're like checking out at the grocery
Gosh,
store.
he does this every time.
It's really fun.
We'll be at if there's like a cashier and they're super just like not even engaged or not happy with their life, and he'll be like, do you know that my wife was this like baller basketball player? And I'm like, this has nothing to do with anything.
And it brightens up their day. 10 out of 10.
Nothing to do with anything whatsoever. So,
Yeah.
okay, so back to
Elementary to degree.
elementary education degree. So I got the degree and I ended up hitting a wall financially. So I actually taught at a small private school and was making below poverty line in the Kansas City area. And it was actually about 15,000 a year, if we're going to be super transparent. So it was really, really rough. And
But pre-COVID
yeah,
finances.
pre-COVID, this was back, I know I'm dating myself a bit, but this was like 2013 to 2015. I think that would be around 2016.
Yep.
And so I was in the place where I knew I needed better finances. And a friend of mine called me up and said, hey, Mary Beth, I know you're really looking for something new. Why don't you start with customer service? And so I ended up going to a call center, and at first really honestly struggled when I first got on the phones. I don't know if any of you have ever worked in a call center, but it is not for the faint of heart. And that was a time in my life where I started to learn that I could develop grit and mental toughness. So it was really, really important.
True or false?
What?
Did you create your own position within that company?
I was getting there.
But this is interactive. This is asking questions and drawing more out.
Okay, gotcha. So yes, it is true. I ended up creating my own position at the company because I wanted to help people at the end of the day. And my first couple of months when I was on the phones were extremely difficult for me because a lot of the mental traffic was happening. And honestly, when you get thrown kind of to the wolves and people are yelling at you all day, it's really tough. And so by my third month, though, I started seeing progression. And really my fourth month and beyond, I ended up excelling at the company and doing extremely well, like top performer month after month.
True or false? Did you win President's Club?
I did win President's Club. And what it came down to was I was just the person who wanted to help make things better for my team and everyone else. And I had an opportunity with the training department to basically do like an internship. And they said, all right, just take a few months and put something together. And I was like, put something together? You just want me to create something out of thin air? And I had the thought, and I remember I said, man, if I could go back and tell myself some components of how I got out of that rut in my first few months, like what would I go back and tell myself that I know now that I wished I knew then? And that birthed something called refresher trainings. And what I did was I pulled up PowerPoint. I just put all the knowledge I had of how I was currently successful on the phones and put it in a palatable way for a new hire person. What was kind of crazy, if you think about it for a company, turnover and rehiring people is extremely expensive. for a company. And so retention is a huge metric that people look at. And if you've ever worked in a call center, it can be very turn and burn. So, having a good culture, good team atmosphere is really, really important. What happened with those refresher trainings, I started doing these for the new hire associates when they were coming onto the floor, or they called it nesting, which was hilarious. But it was their first 30 days on the floor after they completed training. I started doing these refresher trainings and listening in on their calls and helping them, be guided through the process. Well, the retention rate shot through the roof for these new hires. Yeah. And all of a sudden, these brand new hires were outperforming tenured associates. And so the training department said, forget what you were doing on the phones. Full time now, you're going to be what's called the transition trainer. So my entire job was to work with those new hires in those first 30 days to equip them with tools to make them successful.
So you went into customer service first.
Yep.
Education to customer service. Did well enough that they wanted you to have input on how to bring other reps up to speed. And then when you started doing that, you essentially created your own corporate trainer position.
Yeah.
Yeah. So really cool.
Yeah. Thank you. It was, looking back, I didn't know that all that would happen. But again, that kind of goes back to the value that you add and the value that you bring to a position that you work in or the group of people that you're serving. That can directly correlate to so many opportunities that can open up for you. So a little tidbit there. But
I know this is skipping ahead a little bit. The company went through some transitions.
Yeah.
You heard about a sales position and had a friend working as a manager there. Mm-hmm. So what did the process look like when it was full on cold calling sales, not just customer service?
Yeah, customer service was basically you turn on your phone and calls come in and you just kind of deal with what comes. And sales was, now I'm the one who's doing outbound dials on a consistent basis. So my good friend, he worked at this company and he was doing really well. And he said, Mary Beth, I know how great you are, what you've accomplished at that company. Have you ever thought about having a sales career? And I said, I really haven't, but I mean, at this point, I'm willing to try whatever I can. And I also knew that there was a significant income potential that I could have by transitioning into sales as I started looking into it. Yeah. So when I got into my first sales role, I'd never worked as hard as I did in those first few months. And I did continue that work ethic, but it was 100 to 150 dials manual every single day. We didn't even have a dialer at my first job. So it was manual dials. Yeah. And what I ran into again was the mental side, where it was dealing with the hangups, being called names that I should never have been called. Let's just put it that way.
These were contractors you were selling to?
I worked with some rough and tough guys. Let's just put it that way. I sold advertising to contractors. And so that didn't make it any easier because, they got their crew. He's got a cigarette in his mouth and he's telling them to do whatever. And then he goes, oh, by the way, yeah, I'm still here. And that was some typical calls that we had. But the first couple of months were really tough. In fact, I almost was walked out the door and basically made a sale on the final day for my new hire quota at like 3:00 when the day ended at 5. So it was stressful. But what happened during that time was I ended up developing a really good work ethic. And I watched peers around me who had been seasoned sales reps, and they were making like 30 to 40 calls a day. I'm over here making 100 to 150. I'm getting coaching from my boss. I'm applying everything. I'm reading sales books, like How I Raised Myself from Failure to Success in Selling, very first book I ever read. And I ended up, after the 3 p.m. close on that Friday where I almost lost my job, to then the following week closing the biggest sale to date that anyone on the team had closed. And everyone was like, oh my gosh, how'd you do that? How? What's the secret? What's the silver bullet? What is it, Mary Beth? And I'm like, do we want to pull metrics, activity reports and see side by side the difference for the last 2 months of what I did versus what you did? Of how I applied coaching and you didn't apply coaching.
Coach MB is coming out, guys.
I do, because at the end of the day, if you're going to succeed in anything in your life, it's going to take hard work. It's going to take development. And I say this out of a place of caring for people. One of the toughest things, and then I definitely want to ask you some questions.
I have more for you. Keep going though.
It's just, at the end of the day, sales takes hard work. It does. It takes hard work. It takes development. It takes willing to be outside of your comfort zone and pushing past that, threshold that you didn't even know you had. And so that was what had me become a top performer is, yes, working hard, but also going back to like the mental side too. I realized whatever I thought about was what came out when I was making those calls. And so throughout my sales career, consistently, my main goal has been, how do I keep my mental state in the best possible place at all times? And that does include things like working out. That's very big for us. Absolutely. To keep our mental state in check.
If you can't tell.
Yeah. And just a lot of other topics to get into, but
I have at least one or two more quick questions
I can't be the main one talking the whole time.
You can.
We need to talk about
this. Is where we thrive. I ask questions.
No, but you have so much to say.
She impresses people. It's so great.
What are you doing?
I have a follow-up question. So, hi, Jess. We love you, Jess. Mary Beth has kept this all these years.
Oh, my gosh.
At one point in that same first sales job, you became known as the closer, the pit boss.
Okay. So
tell us the backstory.
Okay, this whole thing, Dr. Mary Beth, Lioness Woodchippa, Pit Boss, Wonder Woman, the closer, Hold My Kombucha, Money Bags, Lutz.
We upgraded that last name.
Yeah, I was going to say that was my old last name. Oh my gosh,
short version of the story, but...
Okay,
You were the closer.
I was the closer, so I was the one that... I would get the messages, hey, MB. Usually it was MB, but hey, MB, are you open to a split? Been trying to get this guy for a bit. Would you be open to calling him? And I remember a call very distinctly. I had a roofing contractor on the phone, and I can't even tell you. It wasn't even like I was not trying to sell this man. I was looking at his market, and I literally was like, I'll just call him Bob. We always called him Bob for the prospects. I was like, Bob, you're the only one. We don't even have anyone in your market who's in your area on our website. These are the amount of inquiries we have every single day for your service, and no one can take them. And I was like, I'll give you the lowest package. I don't even care. Like, it was to a point where I was like...
Just give me your credit card. Just start this, and it's going to pay off.
I was looking out for him.
Yes.
And he knew I had him. I was messaging my boss, Jess, actually. And I was like, Jess, I think I can get this guy. But man, he won't do it. I'm doing everything here. And...
He was a little stubborn
like me. He was very stubborn. And you're not stubborn. You're...
I know what I want.
You know... Okay. You did know what you wanted. And so this man gets to a point and he knows that I've presented everything, and he literally on the phone is silent because he knows that he should do it. Like, I've just presented everything and I'm like, you should just do this.
Which at that point I would do it.
And Jess literally sends me a message, and it all caps on our Teams thread. It said, "This is better than daytime television."
Because you were sparring a little bit.
Oh, we were going back and forth. And on the call, that's why I'm saying this, the pit boss.
Yeah.
He, as soon as I call him, I go, oh yeah, just want to give you a follow-up call. Sounds like you spoke with one of my colleagues. And he goes, oh, you're the pit boss. You're the closer. You're the one they send in to close all the deals when the others can't do it, aren't you? And I went right back at him and I said, yeah, you bet, Bob. And that's why I'm giving you a call. So anyway, tell me, why didn't you close with my colleague? Because I'm looking at your market and this would be a really good idea for you. And we went right into it. So that's how I got all my names.
I actually want that call pulled so I can truly hear that.
I used to have it on my old desktop. It was epic. That was my favorite call I've probably ever had. It was fantastic.
Any other background pieces you want to share on before we transition? True or false, did you hand draw this fellow?
I did. I did draw that. I will admit I printed out the logo really big and I traced it. But either way, I did hand draw it. It was with chalk markers, which was an adventure in itself. But, with our teacher roots, I wanted to get to the blackboard, the backstory. You know what I mean?
It's epic. And you love sunflowers?
I do, yes. Sunflowers. Oh, I'm trying to do it. There we go. Sunflowers are great. I love sunflowers.
They really are.
I do love sunflowers. They've always just meant a lot to me because they just represent growth and new growth. And, our channel name is Let's Grow. And we even have a ladder. It's like constantly growing, constantly changing, and being willing to do hard things.
All right. Do you have questions for me?
Okay, so this is the time now that I finally get to ask Caleb, my husband, some questions. So Caleb, walk us through a bit of your career, because I know for you, I don't know if you ever saw yourself in sales at all. Yeah. And I remember you've shared with me how you had a lot of negative mindsets, even about salespeople, about the profession itself, and anything you want to share with the ones watching right now about how you've had to overcome those things, and really a lot of the really great things that have actually come from it because you chose to overcome. So
yeah, absolutely. I grew up in a big family. We're starting way back there. I am number 8 out of 9 kids. We grew up on a farm. It was a 3rd or 4th generation farm. We ended up losing the farm itself when I was just 4. My parents had built their own home. Again, it was their everything. So they leveraged their home then and then their personal land to try to save the farm, keep it going, restart it. When I was 10 to 11, we were upside down there. We had to sell that, lost the house too. And I saw my parents in their 50s completely have to start over with things totally outside their control. And so for a while, like you would expect that to maybe spur me into, I'm going to make sure that my people are provided for. And that has come into play. But I think at first, money was just really annoying to me because I loved learning. I loved having fun. I loved new challenges. Again, one of the youngest. And so the world was my playground. And I thought the coolest thing ever would be to be a teacher from the time I was a little kid, because you get to, again, keep learning your whole life, train others. I followed that through all the way through college, all the way to getting offers to have my first position. I ended up taking someone's advice I really respected and becoming a sub before I ever accepted a full-time position, and worked in a couple different districts here in Kansas City, worked in like 30 different schools over the matter of 4 months. And I saw then just how little preparation was done for the students in terms of financial literacy and in terms of communication. And it became a pattern that I saw over and over, that like all the things that matter, no matter what you do in life, you have to get good at managing money, right? Yeah. If you're going to succeed, you have to get good at communicating and leadership and personal influence and everything we get to train on now. Yeah. And so my dream became to fill that gap and to create some sort of supplemental training that teenagers and kids could get before they're going off to college, before they're diving into their careers, where they would actually get the skills they needed, which is hilarious that we are now living in that and doing that now.
Yeah.
But along the way, I knew that I would have to learn more than what I had at the time. I sat down with anybody who had the results I wanted, who would take time for me, and I would ask them, what does this look like? What do I need? And someone was kind enough to be very rude and draw out how much money I would make for the next 40 years if I stayed a teacher, and just showed me what that path would look like and asked me questions. Are you satisfied providing for a family like that? Like your own family started over having this much higher. Like, do you realize what that looks like? For all the teachers out there, I truly love you and respect you. And
we're actually the ones who vote to pay them more too.
So much respect for truly, what you do.
Yeah.
But it became clear to me that if I wanted to help improve that system, it would need to be having succeeded from the outside and coming back to it. And that same person told me, if you want to lead anything, you need to go into sales. Yeah. And my gut response to that was, heck no.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was, that is the last thing. I had seen my dad not only have the farming, everything that went into that, and be cheated out of stuff there, and not just crops going bad, but businessmen being shady. I had seen him try multiple startups in the meantime, some that were legit, got off the ground, some that were truly not, but just trying to do anything he could to provide for his family. And at that point, it was my opinion that all salespeople were sleazy, were cheaters. And I wanted nothing to do with it. But the more that I heard that theme, the more that I was in personal development and saw that, I was like, I think I need to bite the bullet. And over a summer when I couldn't be teaching, I started into that career, struggled for a little bit, thankfully came in with an amazing class of recruits and had good people around me. And my first manager at the time was the top performer in the company. And sometimes when companies do that and they make the top performer a manager, doesn't work out. In this case, again, just very blessed. I got to sit right beside them. I got to listen to all the calls, and I just got to study and be a student. And so, through that first year, I went from having no idea what I was doing to in a team, I guess, a company with about 90 reps, very high turnover. Usually it was like 50, 60% turnover in the matter of 8 weeks. But I was able to really climbed that ladder, I guess. And 8 months later, I had hit a month where I was top 3 in the company, again, out of 90 or so. I was promoted to a trainer that same month. As part of the training team, that existing team, we took retention from hardly anything again. I think after a year, 90+% was turnover. But we took it from that to having 50+% retention after 6 months. And kind of similar to Mary Beth, I was listening in on calls. I was the closer in the training classes too. And I got to see so many entry-level salespeople from all these different backgrounds, some really confident, some having no idea. Yeah, just got to walk people through that. And I could keep going, but I think that answers that first question on both the why behind it and then what the first little bit looked like. So.
What do you feel like has changed in terms of your mindset and thought process of being an effective salesperson? Because
Great
again,
question.
You thought salespeople were these sleazy, terrible people, which the sad thing is there are some of them that are out there.
Totally.
There's actually a lot of them, which again it kind of taints the profession, which really stinks. But any thoughts that you have on that would be awesome to know.
Yeah. Truly, I think that all the salespeople who I see succeeding over time, they are the ones who provide value to the customers. They're the ones that get in the minds of their customers, understand what is needed, understand the gaps that need to be filled, and are relentless to filling that.
Yeah.
That is my simple answer. I'll say along the way, I believe that is such a skill set, and I believe anyone can get good at that who wants to. So yes, it takes learning, stretching along the way, but I truly think that anyone can develop that.
Yeah, it's a choice.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, for sure.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's so much more about meeting needs. It's so much more about filling the gap for someone. I did a post on LinkedIn a ways back. Never did I ever think I would be an entrepreneur, and I never did. Like, that was the last thing I wanted to do. But I love filling gaps for people. I love solving problems. I love taking on challenges. And if you are willing to do that repeatedly, and if you're willing to stay current and in the creative mode, you can be an incredible entrepreneur. And we've done that in direct sales.
Yep.
We've done that leveraging teams. We've done that in our own freight agency. We've done that in a training company now.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I very much believe in that.
All right, last thing, because of course everyone wants to know. How did we meet?
Ooh, the better question is, how did I ask for her number? But we met at a networking event.
I'll say that part if you want.
I found her hot button and what she was looking for. But
we sold it really good.
We met at a networking event. It was on a day that really, truly sucked for me.
Actually, yeah. That's right.
And for whatever reason, I ended up being like 45 minutes late to this place. I had lost the address on the way there, so I was texting a couple other friends who would be there. And it was like a potluck style thing, and so we were both in line. Mary Beth is, especially to events like that, like never late. I am usually never late. And she was in line right in front of me at first, and then I was called up ahead of you. So I got to like see her, and I thought she was someone that I knew or related to someone I knew. And then I got in front of her. What did you think of me when I was first trying to catch your eye?
I was curious as to why this guy was like, he kept like looking at me, and it was just, I was just wondering why you kept trying to make eye contact with me, because I was with my group of friends, and so I was like with them and engaged with them, and I was like, who is this guy who's looking? I feel
like you're slow pilling though. You were interested pretty quickly.
Well,
right?
You were also super tall, and as a tall female, I can't help it if I notice a tall male. 6 foot, yes. I mean, when there's a tall male, it's like, oh my gosh, who is that? And I was single, so you know.
This was October 2020, so not long ago at all. But yes, we were in line. It ended up that we had mutual friends there.
Yeah.
Got to talking. You came up and talked to me first. And I think it was a simple like, hey, who are you? What are you talking about? Kind of an intro.
Yeah, because I wanted to figure out who you were, that you kept looking at me. And then all of a sudden you were like, oh, you look just like this girl. I looked nothing like her. I looked nothing like her. The only thing was that I had curly hair, and he was like, oh, you look just like her. She was tan. Your girl here, no, not happening. She was tan. She was like 5'6" on a, maybe 5'7" on a good day. Like our facial fit, nothing about us.
Just knew we needed to meet.
Nothing about us even looked similar.
They actually do look very similar.
We don't.
And I asked right away if she knew my friend. She didn't.
Hair. It's literally the hair.
And then we continued on through line. I think we both spilled soup on ourselves because this was October and people were having soup.
Totally.
So that was cute. And there was, we don't have to go into the full story, but basically there were a lot of dynamics happening that night.
My friend liked him is what it came down to.
Yeah. I was ending another relationship. I was not interested in starting any new thing at that point.
Until I came around, baby.
Until at the end of the night, Mary Beth decided to say what?
Well, you didn't say anything to me. And so...
Like, we chatted. We bantered like this. I thought she was really cool.
Yeah.
And I was like,
a great time.
I want to keep talking to this girl.
And here's the thing. I could tell he was such a quality guy. And that was more rare.
Sappiness.
That was more rare than you might think, which is sad. But I could tell he was a very quality guy. And it was one of those where I could have just left. And I kind of felt, I was like, and I'm going back and forth. And again, I didn't know about the dynamic with your mind and all the thing that happened throughout your day and stuff like that. So you actually weren't even thinking.
Not at all.
At all about, getting my number or anything. But I was like, you know what? I'm just going to make myself available here. That's it. And I walked over because I had a great self-image. And I was like, no, like this is a quality guy. And maybe he's just missing it for some reason. But I think I'm actually pretty awesome. Okay. And so I walked over to him and all I said was, hey, I had a really good time tonight. Like, I enjoyed talking to you. And that was kind of my tee up to you of like, hey, if you're not going to catch it now, then at least I know.
And the light bulb went on.
And I see the light bulb and you go,
because I had asked really good questions and I knew what Mary Beth was most passionate about.
No.
I said, yes.
No.
Like, I'd love tonight too. Can I get your number? I'd love to talk more sales with you.
To talk more sales. Any female watching this is like, he said that he wanted to get your number to talk about sales. Like,
which is your passion.
Well, yeah, but to get my number the first time.
So we talked another 30 minutes or so.
And it was cold that night. It was freezing that night. So I really liked him. I found out
she liked chess, which we played one time ever.
Yeah, because he beat me mercilessly and I was not about to do it again.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Frisbee. All these things that we had in common we didn't even know before. And then I called you 2 days later. We went on our first date. And
I guess the rest is history.
8 months later, she had a ring on her finger.
I did, and then
it's pretty cool.
So I guess it was a total of 14 months, and then we were married, which was crazy cool that happened. But that's a little bit of our story.
It is. So obviously, we're having fun. We love sharing with anybody who is in this space, who is wanting to better themselves, truly, who's wanting to grow their leadership skills, their sales skills. I call it personal leadership, communication, leadership, and sales skills.
Yeah.
And we are so passionate about equipping people in that space. We both have our own reasons and backstory, and love that you got to hear a little bit of that today. This is Thanksgiving Day when we're recording this too, just so happens to be. So truly want to say grateful for all of you who are reading, or I guess watching this, hanging along with us, following along with any other content we're putting out. So excited to get to know you guys. Big thank you to all those who have been part of this process and peers of ours or leaders in our life, growing us and helping us along the way. And I think that's it from my end.
Yeah, and a big reason why we started this our YouTube channel, we have our website and everything that we have, and just the company in general is we had a passion for helping salespeople to overcome mental hurdles, which is why I shared a lot of what I did about the mental side for me, but also just to be able to grow in their leadership. And so that's a lot of the content that's going to be on our YouTube channel. And we wanted you to be able to get to know us as people, and we are wanting to do as many videos as we can together because we have a lot of fun together. But we wanted you to know that we're real people. We have had the ups and the downs and everything in between, but our goal is to help at the end of the day. And so feel free to reach out to us if there's anything that we can do to help on your end, and we are looking forward to all that is ahead. So hope everyone has an amazing rest of the day.
Please like, comment, subscribe, let us know you're here.
Yes.
Tell your friends about this if it was truly helpful for you.
Yep.
And we'll see you soon, okay?
Bye.